Hey everyone, Charlie here. Today we're going to do a Learn to Play Piano with Charlie, and today's theme was recommended by Nebulous911. So Nebulous911 says, how do you improvise over a theme? So that's a very kind of a specific but a great question related to improvisation. So a lot of you know I love to improvise. I think it's a lot of fun and stuff. And I think of improvising almost as playing with Legos, where you develop a toolbox full of different ideas and chord progressions and things that work. And you have those Legos and you throw them in your toolbox and you can pull them out anytime you want and use those to build whatever you want, a house, a car, a boat, whatever, using those musical things that you kind of have in your toolbox. And one way to develop a bigger and bigger Lego toolbox of musical improvisation stuff is to practice improvisation, obviously. And a great way to do that, one way that is to improvise over a piece of music that you already know. Now you could do this in a few ways. You could play a recording of a pop song or a Disney song or whatever, and improvise on top of it along with the music. That's a great way. Or you can just play your own cover version of it. Either explicitly trying to make it sound different or trying to make it sound as close to that original as possible. So today we're going to talk about some kind of ideas that you can do to improvise over a theme. So let's say that we're going to play a theme of music. Let's see, should we do a classical one or should we do like a Disney song? I don't know. Let's do a classical one, I guess, for today. So let's say we're going to do something with this. Right? Everyone knows this. Now, let's say we want to improvise, but not necessarily in that style, but we're going to change it up, make it a little bit more modern, maybe a romantic or pop kind of song. But how can we change this around? Well, a big part of it is generally, let's say you can start similarly, but a big part of it is to at least start in, now as an asterisk here, as kind of a disclaimer, what I'm telling you isn't things that you have to do. They're just some ideas of things that you can do to work on this. Okay, so back to it. You might start with the same chord progression. Maybe you'll start with saying playing the theme out so everyone can recognize what it is, but you can also just keep the chord progression or a combination. So in this one, we have C, G, C, F, C, G, C. So you can do something similar. G, C, F, C, G, C, right? Same kind of idea. But let's say we're going to play the same melody over that altered chord. It's the same chord progression. I'm just making it, spreading it out, making it more romantic sounding, kind of almost arpeggiating it, broken chords, that kind of a thing. Right? Same thing. We can all recognize it. Now, you might have noticed I started doing a few different things. I was doubling up the notes to make a harmony up there. That's a possibility. You can also edit or change up, improvise around the melody, especially if you've already stated the melody the first time, or if it's a recognizable melody. So. Now it sounds different, right? But you could, especially since we just heard this, we kind of know what to expect. Now I'm going to play it a few different times and keep changing things up in both the accompaniment and the right hand. I'm going to go further and further away from the original and maybe come back at the end. So we've got. What I also did is I started changing up the actual chord progression near the end. So what you can do, and a good way to kind of improvise around a melody or on top of a melody, is to start, this is only one way of course, you don't have to do it this way, but you can start with kind of the original and slowly go off course. It can be as much as just going up to a different octave. I changed it up a little bit at the end. You can go to different notes within the same chord, within the same harmonies. You can do ornaments like trills or runs. Staying within that harmony. And then you can also break away from the harmony, especially after you've done it a few times. Things like that. You know, the great thing about improv, and probably one of the hard things about improv, there are very few set rules. So, you know, you kind of do what works, keep what works, use those Legos and put them in your toolbox, and get rid of the ones that sound bad, don't work for you, or whatever. Anyways, I hope these are some ideas. Basically, you can start with the original, you can keep the chord progression and do other things in your right hand, and you can also change the chord progression. And those are some very nice ways to kind of start improvising around something that's established and then kind of go off the main path as you go. Now, if you want to be nitty gritty in terms of what you can do with your right hand, again, we talked about you can change octaves, you can add ornaments, you can basically do what sounds good, especially if you're keeping your harmonies similar to the original. So your right hand can be very free because it's oftentimes where the melody is. So, and your left hand is oftentimes more where the harmonies and stuff and bass and things are. You can harmonize also between both hands. But as long as it sounds good, you know, it can work. So as you get more and more off the main path, it can be quite neat. Anyway, those are just some little ideas of ways you can improvise around a harmony. Hopefully it's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions below. This is this very surface level kind of intro to this kind of a stuff, boy, I can't talk today, to this kind of thing. But anyways, I hope it was helpful. So be sure to subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.